Okay, so I've actually ordered head shells because a lot of these tables don't have them. So the actual Technics head shells are going to be reserved for the higher end tables, but I'm going to test with this one just to see what the sound situation is. So, and if I don't know what kind of cartridge it is, since I'm using one of my test records, I assume tracking is set at about 1.5 grams. And for the 2 minutes I'm going to play a record, you know, I'm not real worried about it. So let's see. So queuing up, queuing works. I didn't even test that. Set that for 1.5. And we'll move it over so that's on my stereo. Oh, I unplugged it. Alright. So it's hooked up to my test stereo. Come on. There's a little bit of hum up here. It's probably dirty contacts. And as soon as I touch it, it goes away. So nice slow queuing. Sounds like we might have a channel out. Well, it sounds alright. That one channel, the working channel. Yeah, we got, I think it might be that head shell. So let's hit stop. I didn't even look to see if this was, if everything was connected here. Yep, everything's good there. Seems like the left channel's out. So let's swap the RCA cables going into my stereo. And if it's a bad left channel from the cable to the turntable, right, I'll hear this on the right channel. I'm sorry, the outage, the dead channel will move to the right. And it sounds like we're going to have chit sound on the left and not the right now. Yeah. Yep. So I'll have to sort that out. I'll have to see if it's the RCA cable or this cartridge, because I don't know anything about this cartridge. I can actually put a new Audio Technica on here. I mean, it looks alright. You know what I should, that's what I should do. I should, you know, I really suspect it's the RCA cable though. Yeah, I think I'll put a head shell, I'll put a cartridge on one of these other head shells that I know is working and test it. Okay, put an AT3600L on here. And again, I haven't aligned it or anything. This is just a test sound. Yep, so it's a cable. Still getting a hum out of that right cable. Oh, you know, I didn't set the tracking. I zeroed it out, but I didn't set the tracking on it. Doesn't matter because there's no sound anyway. Alright, so I know that I need to address the RCA cable next. And good thing I have a whole bunch of them that I can use to put new ones on this, because that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so let's look at these RCA cables, and I'll take you through some troubleshooting steps that I do just to make sure, because I don't want to just take these cables off without confirming that they're actually bad. So in this turntable there's a cover here held in with what looked like a couple of screws. One of them is like a ground wire on it. That's kind kind of interesting. And different turntables will have different configuration here. So there's like a little wire that's wrapped around that screw. So take, oh, there goes that screw. So here's the little wire there. I just want to make sure I don't lose track of that. And that screw is right there. Okay. So the right channel works. So I'm going to take my little clip lead here. Hopefully it'll stay. It might not. I may have to use a different kind of clip. Yeah, let me get my other clip. Alright, so I'm going to take this clip lead. I'm going to attach it to the post. Take my multimeter, and I'm looking for the resistance setting. Look, you see the ohm symbol there. Now on this one I have to go to select, and all I want to hear is a beep. So there's a setting here. Oh, I have this confused with my fluke. It's already turned on. So what that will tell me is if there is continuity, it'll beep. And what I want to do is take the black probe, right? The clip is on the red RCA cable. At least it was. And I want to go to where I see the red RCA wire coming in here. And it should beep. If I do the white one, it does not beep. Now I want to do the white one. Right, the white RCA cable, and touch the white. Now I'm getting a signal there, which is interesting. So there could be a broken wire going to the end of the tone arm, which would suck. Or it could be that the ground is broken on these RCA cables. And the way to measure that would be to go to the outside. I'm not getting anything there. That may be touching the middle post though. Let's try the red. Nope. I think it's touching. Yeah, that's not going to work. So what I'll do next is so what I'm going to do is from these wires, so you can see the wires that are going into the tone arm, I want to hit one end of the meter on the white, the red, the green, and the blue. And I'm going to touch, there are four little four dots on the end of in the head shell there. Right, I want to touch those to make sure I have continuity from here to the end of the tone arm. For that, I'm going to grab my other multimeter because this has different leads on it. Okay, so so we'll hear it beep if it's good. Alright, so first let's do red. And red should be, if I'm looking at the tone arm, it should be lower left. Oops, red. Yeah. So we've got continuity there, and white should be lower right. Okay, and I have that. And then ground. That's good. And ground for left channel. That's good as well. Okay. So I think what it is is, I still think it's the RCA cables. So this outer sleeve here is the ground. So I think the ground wire is likely broken in the cable somewhere. So let me go to my Stasho cables. And I'm going to grab this and I'm going to measure it. Kind of a poor man's measurement here. Okay, and I'm going to cut this like so. Remove the old RCA cable. This one's a pretty interesting design. Oh, that was ground. You know, I did that on the last turntable because I'm going to keep the original ground cable. So. Pull this up. There we go. Because what I need to be able to do is wiggle those cables free. Well, maybe I can do it. Looking for my pliers. Boy, those got buried over there pretty quick. Alright, ground is free. Get that one loose. Oh, there's a little bit of solder holding it on there. Jeez. It's like the most difficult RCA cables I've ever done. Alright, so there's the red. Okay. So those are free. And we'll slide this back. Not sure. Looks like that's kind of clipped in there. Oh, I see. Oh, that's hot still. Oh, I see how it's interesting. I've never done one of these before, so it looks to me like we have to pry this little tab open. And not break any Tonearm wires in the process. Boy, what a weird design. There we go. Man, everything is different. The one I did yesterday was the RCA cable installation was completely different. So old RCA cables are out. I'm going to strip off the ends of the new RCA cables, and I'll come back when I get these ready and I'll solder them in. Alright, so wires are ready. First we'll do the ground over here, and I have to remember to keep or put these in think what I'm going to do to make my life easy is load these pads up with some solder, and it'll be much easier to drop everything in position. All right. All right, so ground wire first. Come on. You know what? I'm gonna have to straighten that wire out. It's because of the way it's bent, it's being a pain in the ass. Here we go. And then I'm doing this, trying to do it to where you can see what I'm doing. And that may not last long if this is gonna be too cumbersome. There's that one. And then we have red and green. So green is the outer wire, right? So it's the copper wire. And then red is the one that's in the little red cladding. You know what? I'm not going to be able to do this on camera, so you understand what I'm doing here, but I'm going to have to move this to where I can actually do it. Okay, cover's back on, RCA cables are in, ground wires attached. I remembered that little tiny piece of wire that wrapped around that screw. Let's connect the new RCA cables. Turn on stereo, put this on, and give it a listen. I'm going to use the first cartridge I was going to test. Now that one's actually got some pretty bad hum to it. So maybe not. Let's try this one. No hum. Alright. So something's going on with probably the cartridge here, which I was going to pitch anyway. No hum. Not even a little bit, so that's good. Queuing up. Going to do its automatic return thing. Man, I need to clean this a little bit better. There's a lot of gunk down in here. Okay. I'm still out of channel. Oh, speed is off. What's up with this turntable? I think I've wasted too much time on this one. Piece of shit. Why is the speed so off now? Why do I not have a channel? Okay, sorry about that little meltdown, but these can be pretty frustrating at times. All right, so I want you to see if you can hear this. So we do have a bad Tonearm wire somewhere, but it's only when I move the Tonearm in. Now I don't think this has a muting circuit, so I'm going to unplug it, take any electronics out of it. I believe this is just a straight wire. So let's see if we can see how hear that buzzing as the. So I want to get it to a spot where it's buzzing. because that's the left channel. I think it might be up here though, because if I flex, so there we get it. I'm not sure. I'm trying to. Yeah, I think it might be up here. That'd be nice if it's just a matter of something up here going on. Easier than replacing an entire Tonearm wire, I can tell you that much. Because there it's buzzing. No, I don't think it is that. It's got to be the actual wires. Because right there it's... Can't really move it. Well, poop. Alright, well I'm going to put this up for today. And we will come back to this one because it's warm. I'm not feeling it. And this thing's bound to make me a little crazy today. So stay tuned for the next part. Okay, so I figured out the issue. And it was a broken left channel negative. So in the Tonearm somewhere, this blue wire was busted. So while the camera was charging, I went ahead and I just replaced the Tonearm wires. I keep Tonearm wires here, and I buy them in sufficient quantities to where I have enough to really put new Tonearm wires on like 3 turntables. So it was a nightmare. I'll describe you what I did. It took me way too long. So there are 2 little screws underneath the barrel here. So these screws are removed. I had to take a little tiny, right, this goes into this screwdriver here, and I had to unscrew those 2 screws, pull this out. The Tonearm wires were actually soldered onto the pins here. So I was able to remove that. I desoldered the Tonearm wires from underneath this bracket. This whole bracket came out. So I desoldered the Tonearm wires from here. And then I had to unscrew the Tonearm bearings. I had to loosen this to where once I was able to fish the Tonearm wires out, I had to put the Tonearm wires back in. And the only way to do that was to remove the Tonearm from the Tonearm, that pivot stand. Then I'm going to zoom in here and show you what I had to do, because I was not going to disassemble the whole thing. If you'll see this little spring here, so that's a long spring, like it's a long spring, like, get my fingers in there, like that, right? It's, I don't know, a couple inches. And that spring, let me zoom out, that spring kind of forms a tube, right? And it's kind of bent like this. So it sits there kind of like as a J, at least as far as I can tell and as far as I can see. So I was able to fish the Tonearm wires out, but because it's spring and it's not a solid tube, when I went to push the Tonearm wires back down, they would hit one of the gaps in the spring, and I couldn't push it through to the Tonearm. I think I could have disassembled this whole mess here and ran the wires through that spring. But what I did instead was there was like a natural gap in this assembly to where I ran the Tonearm wires through that gap. They're not as protected as they were with this spring, but I don't see that there's no friction, there's no moving parts touching them. And then I wrapped them with electrical tape to create kind of some barrels that they ran through. And then I've secured that barrel, right? So the wires kind of go through the barrel, and I've secured that barrel to the underside of the plinth. again, not the right way to do it, so I'm sorry if you would have, you know, disassembled the whole thing, but I'm already, for this particular turntable, I'm already into it time-wise way more than I should be. Excuse me. It's early in the morning and haven't had all my coffee yet. I'm trying to work on it. So anyway, I'm going to put the bottom back on, and we're going to give it a listen and see what it sounds like and check the speed. And probably call this one good. I do have to work on finding a cover for it, and I've got tons of covers, although they're attached to turntables. And this is a less expensive belt drive, so I'm not going to take a cover that fits off of like a direct drive, because those bring a little bit more money. So this one may just sit for a while if I don't. Basically, if this is where it ends, it just means that I'm waiting for either an inexpensive cover for this model to come up, or I'm going to jump right into, hey, I found a cover and this is the one I'm going to use on it. So, gosh, so obnoxious. So let me put the cover on and let's, or the bottom on, and let's see what's going on with it.